On this episode of the Layover Live, Jeff Robinson with Visit Indy stops by to talk meetings. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 131 of the Layover Live, where we bring you the top article from the Layover each week. I'm Jason Swick, VP of Digital Marketing, joined by a very special guest today, Jeff Robinson, Director of Marketing at Visit Indy. So, Jeff, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I'm super excited to have you here because if you're here, we're talking about meetings, and I'm super excited because typically up until this point, we focus pretty heavily on the leisure side of the house, but to have you here to come in and talk about meetings is something I'm super, super excited about. And, as we look at the impact of COVID pandemic, it's really been felt by all segments of business out there, especially those in the meeting side of the house have been really, really, really hard hit. Destinations that rely heavily on group business have been affected greatly. In fact, even looking at some of our data, we collect data across many, many different clients, and our Insights Hub shows that there are nearly 18 million fewer room nights on the books compared to this time last year, which is just unfathomable. It's a number that just blows my mind. But the impact of coronavirus on meetings and invites and events is especially hard hitting given the length and complexity of the sales process, right? It takes a long time typically to get a group in there. And as part of that sales process, DMOs are often the ones who are serving that local content and being that local resource for meeting and group planners. Now, our article of the week this week comes from DI, and it includes findings from a recent meeting planner survey that was done by our friends at Destination Analyst. The article shares meeting planners' advice to DMOs and what those planners are looking for right now. Now, one destination that has continued to serve as a great resource to meeting planners out there, and has recently even hosted some groups, so we're going to get into that a little bit, is Visit Indy. And I'm happy to have Jeff Robinson, Director of Marketing of Visit Indy, on the show. So, Jeff, I think for those who may not know you out there, maybe a little background about yourself.
Great. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Fan of the show. Long-time listener, first-time caller. But I've been at Visit Indy now for 15 years in the role of Director of Marketing. So I have, over this time, really, I came in right as they were transitioning from what I would call like an analog marketing organization to a digital marketing organization. So I've been able to really work in amplifying our digital marketing over the last 15 years. We are... Just for context, Indianapolis we are a convention and event city above all else. We built ourselves on hosting amateur sporting events and evolved that into, obviously now we've got the Colts in town and all of that. We've hosted the Super Bowl. We've got, we're supposed to host the NBA All-Star Game in the coming year, supposed to host the college football playoff the following year. As we know, all of those things are very much up in the air right now. But we are a meetings destination, pride ourselves on that. And so, we have definitely felt the effects. It's been a tough year.
Yeah, it really has. And so again, that's why I'm really excited to get yours and the team's perspective on the meeting side of the house. So, again, as you mentioned, meetings and group business is really a big focus for your organization at Visit Indy. So tell us, how you've been selling and marketing to this particular audience the last few months, and how that is different from last year. Naturally, things are different because of what's happened with the pandemic, but maybe give us a little bit of insights to how you guys are marketing to that audience now.
Sure. Well, a lot of our sales efforts are traditionally done in person. So a lot of it is, activating around trade shows, figuring out, what we're doing in our booth, how we're geofencing convention centers, all of those sort of things. A lot of hosting. So, the Indianapolis 500 at the end of May every year is a huge hosting opportunity for us where we bring in prospects from all over the country. Wine them and dine them, show them a great time in our city. Moreover, show them our convention package while they're here, and try to entice them to consider booking. Now, a pandemic hits and all of that goes out the door. So we quickly pivoted to a strategy that we call Reason to Call. So really, we are thinking every week as a marketing team about how can we connect our sales managers with prospective business. So we know that people buy from people, not from organizations. So it's very important through all of this that we just keep that connection alive. And we know that people aren't buying right now, which makes it particularly tricky. So, we really moved to a strategy that mixed delightful content with soft sell touches, and just trying to keep our salespeople engaged with their customers. So, again, we've done everything from live workouts, enter to win contests. We worked with we have an HGTV show in Indy called Good Bones.
Wow.
If you've ever seen that, and so we did an enter to win with me and Karen from that show, and we actually pulled all of our hoteliers together and got them to agree. We were the first city in the country to actively offer zero attrition to any planner who were to book business in 2020, knowing that anything we could do to mitigate their risk in booking right now was going to be huge, because some people were still trying to execute regardless of the pandemic. So again, a lot of it has been really just coming up with new creative ideas week to week so that we can stay in front of that audience.
Yeah, really good insights there too. Jeff, as I think about it, like that reinventing part, right? Which I think it sounds like you guys have done an incredible job of. You have to look at things really through a whole different lens as we're looking at preparing for now and in the future. Sounds like you guys have really got the team together to find those creative ways. But again, focusing on that personal touch, which you talked about, is important. They buy the people, not the destination. I like that. I like that comment a lot. So that being said, though, what channels have you found maybe to be the best to reach those meeting planners, right? Because there's a lot of different ways to do it. You talk about the people aspect, you talk about, trying some new things out. What have you found to be the best way to reach that audience?
Well, like DMOs across the country, we have been forced to take a long, hard look at every budget line item that we have right now. And so a lot of the big ad spends that we had planned have had to be scaled back or put on the shelf altogether. So we've really had to lean on our own channels as much as we can. So I would say like email has really been king for us. To date, as an organization, just this year, we've sent out over 100 different emails. We're averaging close to a 40% open rate, which is great because I think people are a little more tuned in, maybe not running to as many meetings. So again, that does include all sides of our business, not just meetings. That's leisure, partnership, and meetings.
Sure.
I would also say, video has been really important to us during this time. We're blessed to have a wonderful in-house videographer, Mel Harms, who has really been productive over this time. So if that's creating content for Zooms with our clients, or maybe it's even capturing things. For instance, we actually have recently hosted some groups, and she was able to get in and capture footage of those meetings so that we could actually show planners that people are meeting in our city. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to show it. So to me, like email and video have really reigned huge for us, and we've been leaning on them heavily, and the sheer volume of email has been pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's good to hear you say that, because I believe those two platforms also are great ways to really not only promote meeting planners, but just to promote a destination in general, right? I mean, there's probably not many better ways to showcase a destination than through video. It helps to tell a story, which is really what we're doing. We're telling a story, and email marketing. With those open rates, which are incredibly high, by the way. So congratulations to you and your team for doing that, because it tells me, one, your guys' email list is really good, and two, your content is really good. And those are two important things. And email has really done a lot of the heavy lifting, I think, during these times, right? Because it's a great way to engage our audience. It's a great way to get relevant content out there, to speak to that audience, let them know what's happening. So I'm not surprised to hear you say those things. That being said, though, meeting planners, lean on DMOs for different things. So what resources and support are meeting planners leaning on you guys for right now? I got to imagine it's around health and safety with some of these things. I love the fact that you said, hey, we're kind of, helping with attrition right now and being careful with some of our policies and flexibilities, or at least to cancellations, things of that nature. But what resources, and support are meeting planners looking to you guys for right now?
Well, again, I think this is this kind of crazy time period is an opportunity for a DMO to really show its value. So, we do think of ourselves, rightfully so, as sort of the glue of the tourism industry in our city. And as we know, tourism touches so many different types of businesses. So we have taken this as an opportunity to pull together that community. So we have a task force with over 60 people on it who come to the table and bring together ideas so that we're all playing from the same playbook when it comes to health and safety. We want to make sure that people feel comfortable when they come here. So we've pulled together this task force. We created video showcasing the fact that we put $7 million of safety measures into the Indiana Convention Center. Again, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to show it. As I mentioned, we did recently host some events. So over the last 30 days, we've hosted 5 different events, each with its own county-specific safety plan, over 30 days, and we brought over 40,000 people into the city. And it's pretty amazing because there was a time, because we are so group dependent, that we were ranking 36 out of 38 downtowns in occupancy in June.
Wow.
By July, we were 3rd in the country for hotel downtown occupancy because we were pursuing displaced groups. A lot of cities were forced to turn their convention centers into extensions of their hospitals and things for dealing with the COVID outbreak. We were fortunate enough that we were able to sort of lock ours down and seal it off and spend that time putting in new air filtration systems, new cleaning systems, all the things that a planner needs to feel comfortable about meeting in our city. And again, rather than just sending out a long email documenting all of that, we wanted to create video to actually show people what that looks like. So that was a big push for us. And then when those groups actually met, we got in there with video so that we could capture those meetings and show people that people are coming. So we firmly believe that seeing is believing, and so video is huge for us. Another thing that we've done for a lot of meeting professionals, site visits are huge, right? So
Right.
we fly meeting planners in, we put them up, we show them our city, we walk them around, they can meet people in our industry. We've been unable to do that, so we needed to create a way that we could start doing virtual site visits. So we worked with a company to develop an interactive map that we could use. That's sort of a 3D illustrated map. And what it's allowed us to do then, our planners can do a virtual site visit over Zoom with prospects where they're actually going from hotel to hotel, showcasing places and spaces in the convention center. They're able to, because our calling card as a city is we have the most connected hotel rooms to our convention center than any city in the country. But again, actually giving them a visual to put with that thought is really important. And so we actually just hosted last week our first virtual site visit, and it went tremendously well. And I can see us making this a huge part of the selling process. Because as you said, a lot of planners are booking years out. So again, if we can get tools into the hands of our sales managers now so they can be selling that business in 2024 and 2025, that's a win for us.
Yeah, a lot of really, really good stuff there, Jeff. Like you're looking at, I like that you said the glue that holds things together. This, the task force idea. I think getting out into your community, you building that group and getting everybody on the same page. Boy, that is huge, right? And that's a common theme that we keep, hearing week in and week out is that, hey, you got to get out in that community. You got to work together on this. And then to your point, to be able to have 5 events. That's unheard of right now. So, you guys are doing good things over there too. And I want to get your advice in a second on some of those things. But, just thinking about that value that you bring and getting everybody aligned, right? And then finding these new innovative ways, because these are things that aren't just going to work for the pandemic, right? These are things that are going to give you an advantage moving forward, right? It's hey, if we can learn these things now and learn to reinvent ourselves and be agile and pivot, that's going to help us in the future. If anything, it gets those cold leads warmed up and get you guys on that short list, right, of those places. And then it comes down to the people, which you talked about, to be able to take it across the finish line. So I love hearing that. And again, to have some of those events out there is fantastic.
Yeah, anyone who's dealt with a crisis in their destination understands the value of being able to quickly pull people together. So, we've certainly been through something like that, well, nothing like this before, but through our own crisis before. And, yeah, that ability to mobilize people quickly, I think, is something that a DMO can be a really important part of in a city. And so taking advantage of this opportunity to show your value, I think, is more important than ever.
Yeah, and that may lead to my last question that I have for you, and something we've been asking people every week is, what advice then do you have for some of your fellow marketers out there? Is it just that? Is it being agile and being able to pull people together quickly? So maybe what advice that you have, Jeff, for your fellow marketers out there?
Yeah, so a couple of things that have been on my mind. Number one, I'm very proud to work for an organization that was thinking ahead. So, we were able to put aside some healthy reserves so that when this crisis hit, we've been able to keep the team intact. And I think a lot of DMOs have been weren't as financially prepared for this. So I just think as organizations, we need to be planning ahead because while I'd like to think this is the last pandemic, this will certainly not be the last crisis that we face as DMOs. So making sure that we have those reserves is key because the city's going to lean on us to bring us out of this in terms of helping restore the tourism economy in our city. And if we don't have the people in place, it's going to be very difficult to do. So we have to be prepared because things can change on a dime, as we've quickly learned. Second is utilizing this time as an opportunity. I know that's sort of weird to say, but I think there's an opportunity while everyone is sort of looking for a life raft to think about projects that you could push through. Or maybe it's just that you're not as inundated with reacting to day-to-day things, and you can really dive into some projects that have been on your wish list for a long time. So for example, we are getting ready to launch an attraction pass, and this has been something that I've wanted to do forever, but I've always gotten resistance from some of our big museums. And I think now that they are, unfortunately, as everyone is, really struggling to figure out how they're going to come out of this, they were just a little more open to it than they were before. So sort of have that dream list of projects that you've been wanting to get done and take advantage of this time to innovate. I think DMOs need to prove, I think, that we've innovated throughout this downtime. And if we do, I think we'll be stars coming out of it.
Yeah, great stuff there, right? I think, looking at, you talked about opportunities and reinventing yourself. I could not agree with you more. I think the ones who come out of this looking well are the ones who quickly worked with their communities, helped to find ways to show value in those communities. It's very, very, very important. The opportunities you mentioned, I agree with you. It seems kind of counterintuitive a lot of times when we think about hey, a bad market is a time, or when bad things happen is an opportunity. And it's true. It's true in the financial sectors if you're talking about your portfolio and times when things are down or times when you should be investing more, which is counterintuitive. I think it's the same way here. You've got opportunities to get projects done or to get things done or to extend a hand out to somebody who maybe wasn't extending their hand before to try to build those opportunities. I love that. And then the rainy day piece that you mentioned, I think a lot of DMOs weren't prepared for this and got hit with that. And we'll learn from that hopefully moving forward, because the ones that have been resilient or planned for that rainy day are the ones that I think have felt, we've all felt the pain, but have felt a little bit less pain. In our case, at Simpleview, we've had a lot of them where we've had to extend these kind of extension of staff programs to where, hey, listen, we know you've had extensive layoffs. Let us help you even just get blog content out or write an email for you or help you with projects. If we, for many DMOs, if those rainy day funds had been planned for, might not have had to have those situations or could have focused on more proactive rather than reactive things, right? And it's different for everybody, but hopefully coming out of this, that's good advice, right? Is to plan for those things moving forward, and I'm sure that a lot of DMOs will do that. So Jeff, thanks, really, really good stuff. Thanks for coming on and sharing that. So happy to see how things have worked out for you guys. The fact that you're booking groups, I think, again, video and emails help with that. And I love the fact also that you've taken the video and then said, hey, let me show you guys that groups that have come out, that things are okay. And here's the things you have to be mindful of. It's not being careless. It's just being mindful of those things. I love to hear that. So thank you for coming on and sharing that. And folks out there, if you're wanting to see a DMO right now who's doing things right, Visit Indy is a good source for that. So Jeff, thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in each and every week. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. You can also watch us through podcast, or listen to us rather through podcast on Spotify and iTunes. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.